This segment of My Conversation is brought to you by Precision Mechanical Solutions, Inc., air conditioning, refrigeration, and heating.
Great morning. I know with the weather changing here in the San Joaquin Valley, you're gearing up for the winter and trying to stay warm. Well, got a solution for you. Please give it up for our next guest, Sue and Russ from Precision Mechanical Solutions Incorporated. How you doing?
Good. How are you
Thanks
doing?
for being on the show.
No, it's
Now,
pleasure.
I've met you before.
Yes.
I was just get
Yes.
that there. Now, real quick, give us a little rundown on what services you provide.
We're a full-service air conditioning, heating, refrigeration service provider. So we do everything from residential to commercial to industrial, heating, cooling, and refrigeration.
So if you want to make your house hot, you got it. Want to make your house cool, you got that.
Got it.
Now, what are some of the things, give us a little bit of advice on what people should be doing entering this winter coming up.
Well, preventative maintenance is probably the biggest thing we really encourage customers to consider doing on a regular basis, both in the spring and now that it's fall coming up. Get that heater tuned up, get it checked out, make sure the safeties are all working properly. With the carbon monoxide detectors all in the houses now, that's one of the things that we want to make sure that the burners are burning properly and the heater's operating safely.
Right.
So along with that, we also do boiler work. We can, on the industrial and commercial side of things. So it's mostly, do that front end stuff so you're not caught later on with it not working.
Now, what do you find, like especially here in the Valley, what do you find that people do wrong, with your heater? Because I know I run it all the time. I'm not.
Well,
is there what I'm saying is there a way that is there a such thing as running it too much, entering into, or?
no, not necessarily. I mean, that first time you light it off in the fall, you're going to get that funky smell because there's dust kind of settles on the heat exchanger.
Okay.
So, on a cool or a moderately cool afternoon, you might want to open the windows up, fire the heater off, and let it run, get that smell out. Mm-hmm. But most people, the biggest mistake they make is they don't have a qualified service provider come in and make sure that it's running safely and operating correctly. So just like I said before, a regular maintenance program of some kind, once in the fall, once in the spring on a residential situation. And then on commercial and industrial, we usually try and check things at least quarterly, if not every other month type of a situation. Changing filters is huge. Change your filters at home.
I hear that.
And don't put in the little cheapy little things that you can see the sun through without even, put in a nice quality filter and have it taken care of.
Now, how often should that be changed?
Most of those, if you're using a high quality filter, every 3 months. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you're using what we call rock stoppers, you better be changing that thing on a regular basis.
Rock stoppers.
Yeah.
I have not heard that.
About the only thing they stop is a rock. Everything else is going right through them.
Right. Aha! I got that part. Now, how long have you been with PMSI?
Our company started in January of 16.
2016.
Yeah. So we're just a little over a year and a half old now, a year and 3/4. But I've been in the business for over 30 years.
That's the question right there. That right
Yeah.
there.
It's a combination about 150, 160 years of all the partners.
So which is, I like
Right.
to ask that question and be like, oh, they just jumping up there flicking the switch. No, they actually know what they're doing.
Right.
So if you need your service, make sure you call the experienced professionals. Don't call me. Now, a lot of common mistakes that I like to make, I like to run it really high. I like to run my heat like, whew. Is that too much wear? Do you recommend a certain setting, or should it be?
Most furnaces and most air conditioning, heating, cooling equipment is designed to run within, normal industry standards. Most people aren't going to run their heat up over 70, 72 at most.
Ooh, don't come to my house.
But if you like a nice warm house, go ahead and run it. The equipment's designed to raise the temperature a certain amount, and as long as it's operating within a safe range, you're fine. Some units have they call it a safety limit, where if the air temperature gets too high, it'll turn itself off. Mm-hmm. So if you're running your house at 100, then you might trip a limit. But if you like your house at 75, 78 degrees, go for it. It's not going to hurt it.
Yeah. Just energy-wise.
Yeah, you're paying the bill.
Right, yeah, definitely with that PG&E when that bill comes.
Exactly.
You want to burn that in the furnace. Now, I know with, a lot of apartments around Fresno and that kind of thing. Do you have the option? Is there certain filters better than the others, or are you allowed to go ahead and what's the most common call that you get for the heaters?
Igniters.
It ranges, yeah. The igniters, most all the furnaces now have an electronic ignition device, so they don't have that old standing pilot that's waiting for the
Got it,
burners to turn
got it.
on. They spark.
Got it.
They have a spark rod that starts the flame. We have ignition and igniter failures. During the off season, a lot of times spiders will get into that heat exchanger area and they'll get webs built in there, and there's a little spider, believe it or not, that'll crawl inside a little tiny hole where the gas comes out, and they'll build a web in there and it'll plug it off. We call them
What?
orifice spiders, which is not what they are, but it is. It's a little spider web inside that orifice.
And
So
they
that's
can
another
fit
reason.
Inside of.
Yeah, they'll crawl right in and make their web in there because it's safe. But and you know, that's another reason for a preventative maintenance visit. You know, we can go through and check all that stuff out and make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to do.
And that will help in the long run.
Exactly.
With,
Right.
with the longevity of
I mean,
the system.
you know, failures range from, you know, all over the spectrum, but a lot of times it's electrical in nature, or like I said, an orifice spider's gotten in there and it's plugged off one of your burners. The other thing that we really stress and urge people to let us look at is their heat exchangers. If it's an older unit, every time you run the furnace, the metal expands, and then when it cools down, it contracts. Well, you keep doing that over a few years, and some cracks can develop.
It's kind of like this knee.
And that's where you're going to get that carbon monoxide issue
Gotcha.
coming into your house. So,
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. Well, I tell you what, before we get out of here, regardless of what the problem is, you guys can fix it. That's the
Yes,
most
we can.
important thing. I wanted to cover a little bit,
Yes.
little examples of what could go wrong, just to show that, hey, if you guys got a problem with it, they can. If they want to contact you to come out, how can they reach you?
our phone number is 559-347-9500, and
24/7.
yeah,
That's
You can
really big.
call
Yeah,
that number anytime.
our on-call guys, the phone rings directly to them, so you're actually talking to a person. You're not talking to a call center. And
That is.
yeah,
Well, I tell you what, thank you so much for being a sponsor
Thank
and
you.
a guest
Thank
on our
you.
show.
Appreciate
Another
it.
round of applause for Russ and Sue. And PMSI, that's Precision Mechanical Solutions Incorporated. Don't go anywhere. We got more right after this.
This segment of My Conversation is brought to you by Precision Mechanical Solutions, Inc., air conditioning, refrigeration, and heating.